My video recording wasn't great, so I ended the other video when the day change occurred, which is an autosave, and I resumed things after at the save point. So we have the figures have started moving. They've finished the medical bed and are going about their days. Quinn is going to eat, and Quincy started cooking, and the students are eating, and so I'll let them have their breakfast first, and then I'm going to do the ritual to push back the fog. So Quinn finished eating and he's going back to research. Ailani has finished eating and she's starting to put things into storage, and Birdie has finished off eating, and Quincy started eating late, so he's finishing off a dire rat, and we'll let him have his breakfast, and he's going to go back to cooking, but instead we're going to do the ritual. And so again, we've got the two staff members, and we have Birdie, who's going to help them as a student. And together they're going to do 90 units worth of repelling the fog. And they're each going to improve with their experience, which could, I think it'll put Birdie up a level. And it'll help the staff members get closer to level 6, which will be the maximum level for them. So I'm going to put this on ×3 speed while they do the ritual, and Stuart the ghost will start teaching a class, and it will be for Ailani as Birdie is doing the ritual. So in the near future, I'm going to need a ritual sigil, and I've got everything I need to make that except for phoenix kisses, which are sort of flowers or something. So I'm going to identify these that I want to harvest them, and I'm going to put them top priority, and there's some over here, and I will let them get harvested as well. I increased the priority for those, why not? And I'll let the ritual keep going. And class keeps going. A lot of the wizards are still injured from the previous fight, so Ailani got some healing done, but the others are still injured, and so there's definitely work that needs to be done. And Quinn is researching, Quincy is cooking, and Stuart is teaching. So we're just purely in maintenance mode. Nobody's harvesting the flowers, the phoenix kisses, even though I gave that 5 priority, and that's important. And similarly, so that's just not getting done. And items aren't being picked up. The harvested resources aren't being picked up by the students. And so we really do need these students to finish their training, and we need to graduate them to staff positions so that we get a little bit more productivity out of our school, and we have more staff who can be working. So school ends for the lunch break, and they're off now to do various tasks. Stuart is going to mine surface rock, which it's because his priority is high on mining and teaching. I'm going to increase the priority on harvest, and then now he's going to get gutberry vines, which is fine. We can use those to push back the fog when it gets closer again. And Quinn has finished the research, and so we can now build with the creepiest quilting. We can now build spindles, but we can't afford a spindle right now because it costs 20 iron and we only have 10. So that's a little bit of a pain. We'd like to have somewhere for them to eat, and to do that we would need a dining room table, and so we're going to get Quinn to research rustic dining next, and he will that will let us build a dining table. And he was going to go get the phoenix kisses, but now that I've told him to research, or now that I've chosen a new research, he's doing that instead. But Quincy's going to get the phoenix kisses, so that's great. So we'll get a few of these, and hopefully we'll get enough that we can build a ritual sigil. And if we look here, we've got 9 and we need 10, so we're really close to getting, and so he just harvested one more, which is enough. So we got the ritual sigil, and we can start building that over here. And school will resume, and so students are back with the ghost studying, and Quinn is researching, and Quincy is harvesting these phoenix kisses because I gave them such a high priority. I basically said all of these need to be harvested. So I'm going to lower the priority now that we've got enough for the sigil stone, or for the ritual sigil. I'm going to lower the priorities on the phoenix kisses to 3. We can certainly use them, but it's not the most important thing for us to do now. And so now Quincy's going to switch to harvesting gut berries. And we've got 5 gut berries, so that's not a bad activity. We could definitely use more gut berries, so I'll let him do that. So Quincy has now started assembling the ritual sigil that we built up here, and he likes to build things. And what's going to happen with this, which is kind of interesting, is we've got a basic classroom here because the learning stone is here. And once the sigil is born, it's going to kind of crowd the room, and it'll stop being a basic classroom, and it's going to go back to being a schoolroom. The scullery here has become a special room because the gruel pod is in it. And so if we press F1, we can get information about the rooms, and the scullery gives us the plus 25% on cooking, and the basic classroom gives us plus 50% on learning and experience, and we don't get any bonus in the schoolroom because it's just a normal default room. And so we're going to lose this basic classroom because it's no longer a basic classroom if there's a ritual sigil in it. And so, you know, we're in the middle of classes here, so that's not great that we're losing our classroom, but we'll be able to fix it and get it back, which I'll show once we've finished building the ritual sigil. So the students are getting well trained. They're making good progress on their various magical abilities. They should have them all mastered and be fully trained in short order, hopefully. And Quinn is done researching, and Quincy is harvesting gutberry vines. So I'll go back to research, and we don't need a brazier, we don't really need a pantry, we don't need a candelabra, we don't need domestic gutberries, and we don't need any of these planters. We don't need any of the supports yet, but what we would like is a plain bed. And so with a plain bed, right now, all of our wizards are on cots, and plain beds will let us make better sleeping areas for the wizards, the students, and the staff. And so those will be useful for us in short order. So class is finished for the day, so that's wonderful. And they're off to do some tasks before dinner. And we have tons of meals for all of them. So we've got carcass stew, we've got gutberry soup, and we've got the rats and the koas out here. So everybody should have good things to eat. And then we'll have our evening dance party again. And we're making the ritual sigil up in the basic classroom. And it's not quite completed yet. So the ritual sigil just finished, and it changed the classroom back to a default schoolroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a wall between the two halves so that that's going to put it back to being a classroom, and then there'll be a room with the ritual sigil in it. We also got a bit of an interesting thing here now that Birdie prefers eating in a room with Ailani, and Ailani prefers eating in a room with Birdie. And if we look at the students on their mage sheet, we'll see that they have these quirks, which is one that they have now that when they eat in a room together, they like it. And so basically, the conviction I talked about, this gives them a conviction bonus whenever they eat in a room together, which is good. They're both studying together and they're both going to be staffed together in the school. So I'll probably have them eating together. And so then that's great. I'll get a conviction bonus out of it when they do. And so I'm going to build a dining room table, and I'm going to build this here. And then I'll keep this going now. And so Quinn is researching the bed, and Quincy is cooking some gutberry soup, but now he's switched to build the dining table, which is great. If we're lucky, he might get it finished before dinner. And then everybody might eat at it, but there's no guarantee. Nope. So we missed dinner, and they're all partying now. Except for the ghost. I guess he doesn't dance with them. And we're building the dining room table, so they'll use that in the morning. And we will get this completed overnight. And yeah. So we don't have here that they ate together. So I guess they ate sort of differently enough that they didn't trigger their preferences that they like to eat together. But I imagine in the morning they'll eat together at the dining room table, and they'll get a conviction bonus for eating together. So the fog advanced, and the new ritual, or the same ritual, the wormweed pod and the viscera is too expensive for us. So we're going to just let the fog keep advancing, and eventually it will let us push it back with wood and gutberries again. And the wall that we've built has separated the learning stone here from the ritual sigil. So this is just a default room with a ritual sigil in it. And this has gone back to a classroom, and both of them are well lit. So we're not going to get any void shrooms in either. So what we're working towards here is hiring staff. We want to use this ritual sigil to turn them into staff. And we're going to need a fully trained student, which neither of these students is fully trained. And we're going to need 25 Gnosis shards, which we've only got 15 Gnosis shards from the two students. So that might be a little bit of a problem for us, that the students, once they're done, we might not have enough Gnosis from them to promote the staff. So that is what it is. But we could hire more students to get more Gnosis from when they're training. So that seems like a decent idea. So we have right now a lightning mage, a fire mage, an earth mage, and a nature mage. And so we still need a water mage, a dark mage, and we need a water mage, we need a dark mage, and we need an air mage. And so that'll give us all 7. And we've got these, and we've got everything that we need apparently to make, excuse me, these 3 wands. And so we'll let them work on that. And the wizards are finishing their dance party, and then they're going to head to sleep once they're done. Quinn was down researching, so I assume his recreation got maxed out. So once he got full recreation, there's no reason for him to continue the dance party. And he's sleeping in the medical bed. So he's healing overnight. So his hit points should be increasing as we go. So they're 94, 95. And so it's pretty slow, but his hit points are going up. And Stuart is over here mining the rocks for us. So he's got a real fixation on mining rocks, which is that's fine if that's what he's gonna want to do. We're gonna need the stone eventually, so that's fine if he wants to mine that. Quinn is at 101 out of 122 health. And so he should be getting to the point where he's not getting the pain penalty anymore. And so he should be a little bit happier without that. I wouldn't mind having more medical beds and let them more than one wizard heal, but I'm so short on iron. That's just not the best use of iron right now. And so I think I'm totally out of iron. I am, and the last 10 iron went into my ritual sigil, which that was more important than than a second medical bed. And so what I probably should have done actually is I probably should have got Steward to be building the wands, which I didn't, and he started researching overnight, which again isn't great. So I'm gonna get him to craft an air wand would be useful, and I'll get him to do that, and hopefully he'll finish that while everybody's eating before they get ready for classes. So he has an hour to make an air wand. So I think the students did eat together this time. So if we look at status and conviction, it says 8 with Birdie, and for the next 5.7 hours, she's going to get plus 15 on her conviction. So you can see that's making her really happy. This is kind of a bit of a mixed blessing. Birdie has the same thing, 8 with Ilani, plus 15 conviction. Because now they'll get a penalty if they don't eat together, because they like to eat together. So if they eat at different times, they'll get a 5 unit conviction penalty with one another, which is a little bit of a pain. So Quincy's going to construct this next wand, which would be great, but we actually are ready to summon the next student. So rather than him making a wand, we're going to get him to do the summon initiate ritual, which will give him 100 experience, and that will give us our new student. And he's working with that, and we're going to need somewhere for the new student to sleep. And so I'm going to build a cot over here in the student summoning room. So that'll be somewhere for the student to sleep. And that'll get us up to 5 wizards. And so now we have Calliope, who's an air wizard, and she's another Wolfkin initiate. So she's going up to join in on the class, and we've got a spectral rift that's opened on us again. So we fought one of these before, and it left all of our characters injured, but we defeated them. So we're going to try this again. And so Lonnie can be up front with 20 health, and then we've got Quinn, and he'll be next to her with 127 health. And then Birdie and Quincy are in the back with less health. There's Calliope, who would be maybe nice to include. And she has, as part of her trials, is that she wants to defeat enemy parties in battles above ground. So she would get some benefit from being involved in this fight. But the problem is she's very weak. We just recruited her, so she doesn't know very much magic yet. And so she's not going to be very helpful in the battle. And I'd like to minimize how much my wizards are injured. And so I'm going to bring in the 4 strongest wizards, the older apprentices and the wizards, to fight the ghosts. And hopefully it goes well. Okay, so I'm going to do Vengeance on Quinn. So as some of these enemies attack him, they'll hopefully get some damage from it. I'm going to put, I could put Growth on either one of these, but I think I'm actually going to do Surging Strength on the 2 characters in the front row, and then that will make their attack stronger. I've got Bolt here with Quinn, which doesn't do great damage, but it does a little bit of damage, so I guess that's something. So they're attacking him, as you can see, and he's returning the attacks. And so it's doing damage back to them, which is, you know, better than not doing damage to them. Now, Ailani has a new ability called Earth Armor, which is going to protect her, and it'll taunt them. So it'll get the opponents to start attacking her. So I'm going to put Vengeance on her so that they'll attack her and hopefully do some damage. And I've got this growth now, and so I'm going to throw that onto the Torch Snuffer. And then here I've got the Bolt, which is, I'm running low on, oh no, I'm not. I thought I was running low on mana, but the problem actually is that Quinn has tunnel vision, so all he can do is attack spells, which is a little bit annoying. So Quinn is hurting a bit. He's down to 77 out of 127. Ailani is just doing great. She's just a champ right now. She's still at 199 health. She's the MVP this fight. And so I don't love that Quinn keeps getting injured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Quincy up to take the hits from Quinn. And he's out of mana, so he can't even cast anything. So I'm going to pass to get some more mana with Quincy. And then Birdie can do even better. So Birdie's at 100 health. And so I'm just going to do the same thing. And I'm going to jump Birdie up here. And then I'm going to have Birdie attack the weaker of the two ghosts, who's also susceptible to nature. So it's going to do double damage. And so that's good. And then now all I can do with Quinn, because he has this, oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, yeah, he does. Because he has tunnel vision, all he can do is attack. So he's attacking with his wand. And poor Birdie's getting roughed up. So now Quinn is out of mana as well. We're all running low on mana, so there's not a ton of mana in this fight. And so now I've got Fireball, and it could do half damage against the Torch Snuffer, or it can finish off the Messy Meddler. And so I'm going to finish off the Messy Meddler. Birdie's out of mana. I'm going to hit... Now, I could do a Bolt with Quinn, but I think I actually want to recharge somebody. And so I'm going to recharge Ailani because she does a little bit more damage with her smash. And so 24, I guess that's not nothing. And so Quincy, so I'm going to move up and get Quincy to take Birdie's spot, and we're trying to spread around the damage so none of them get knocked out. And we're passing to get mana to try to do some more final attacks against this Torch Snuffer and finish off this fight. This is all being a little bit frustrating to try to finish him because they're just all really hurting for mana, which is a pain in the butt. Okay, here we go. So this is going to finish him off. And that's the end of the Torch Snuffer. That was a tough fight, because all my characters are just so weak. They're not set up for a fight at all. And so that's that. The Spectral Rift was defeated, and Quinn's going back to research, and Quincy is going to build the cot, which Calliope is going to sleep in tonight. And Stuart is teaching the students, and Calliope has joined the class, and now there's 3 students around the lecturing stone. The lecturing stone and the teacher can teach up to 6 students, and typically for these lecturing stones, that's where you're teaching initiates. So this is a good capacity for any students I have right now for them to all learn. And Calliope does mean that we are that there's a little bit more food consumption, and that I need the cot, but it's not really that big of a deal. So that's fine that we've got another student here, and we are now generating more Gnosis, and we're up to 19 Gnosis, which is which is great. That's fine. So the staff are gathering things and harvesting things, and the afternoon class of learning has started now. So the students are all back to learning, and Quinn is researching, and Quincy is crafting a wand. And I believe that we might have another wand. So the water wand was completed while I was just running things. He went and finished the water wand. And so I'm going to get him to go and summon the water student, and we will get another cot in the student study summoning room for a water wizard now. So we now have a fully trained student, our first fully trained student. And this means that Alani has finished her studies, and she won't learn any more magic because she's fully trained. We don't have enough gnosis to promote her yet to a staff position, which is what I do right now if we had 25 gnosis. And it would normally be fine. What we're going to do is we're going to create a group, and we're going to create a custom group, and these are going to be fully trained students. So these are any student who gets fully trained is going to get automatically added to this group. So we are going to do a status, and if they have any of and I will do fully trained. So if they get the fully trained status, they get put into this group. And so now Alani's in this group, and I'm going to create a new schedule that it's going to be a custom schedule for fully trained students. And so now Alani is in the fully trained students instead of the initiates. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change their class schedule to just tasks. So now we're not going to have fully trained students that keep studying when they don't need to learn anymore. So right now, Alani is waiting her turn to cast Earth, but when I unpause the game, she's going to go off and do something else because she's now in this group of fully trained students. And so she's going off to work because she's fully trained. Okay, now, I got a warning there that I've got no recreation scheduled. So I have her set up to work all night, and so I'll let her recreate in the night. So now with Alani, I could get her to just wait around until there's 25 Gnosis shards, and then she can become a staff member, which would be fine. But Birdie's going to be fully trained soon, and then Birdie's going to want to become a staff member, and so I'm going to need another 25 Gnosis. So it just makes sense that I'm going to graduate Alani instead of keeping her around for her to be a staff member. So I'm going to choose graduate, and Alani gets to go here as a graduate, and then we get to choose who is going to preside over their graduation. And the graduation gives some experience, which is kind of nice to get them closer to the next level. And it gives them bittersweet feelings, which increases their conviction by 10. And so I'm going to do Quinn will preside over her graduation. And she is going to manifest a max level 6 relic. And so she's doing a level 6 relic. I might have explained it wrong when I said that she gets level 6, but she's got level 3, and then she's got 1 full learning trial finished. And so I don't know really why it's level 6. I think actually what it is I think that apprentices, when they graduate, they create a level 5 relic, and she's getting +1 to the level because she has 1 trial completed. So she's going to graduate, and she's going to leave the school, and she's going to be gone. That's going to be it. She's done and gone forever. And we're going to get a relic, a magic item for her leaving. And then we're going to use this Gnosis to promote Birdie when Birdie's ready to be a staff member. And so we'll just recruit another Earth student to take her place once she's graduated. And we're going to train more students than we need for staff. So this is going to be a part of it anyway. Here's the new Earth wand that I'm going to build in order to get another Earth student out. And so up here now, we've got this Gizmo of the Strongman, which is the relic that we got from Ilani, who just left. And it is an Earth relic, and it has 6 levels. And so all relics start off at level 1, and they get stronger as they're used until this one will get up to level 6. And it does 2 things. If a wizard attunes this relic, then they construct and carve 1.5 times faster, which is kind of nice. So it'd be good for an Earth wizard. It would make them do Earth tasks faster. And then you can put it in a plinth, which is a display stand, and it gives a benefit to the entire school. And if this relic is in a plinth, it will give Earthwork spells a 10% chance to do +3 Earth per cast. So you might say, well, wait, what does that mean? So it means 1 in 10 times when any wizard casts an Earth spell, instead of it just doing their level amount of Earth, it'll do an additional 3. So if they were constructing a wall, 1 in 10 times, they'll, instead of just doing 1 unit of work on the wall, they'll do 4 units of work on the wall, for example, if it was the ghost doing construction. So it just makes things work faster, Earth things work faster once that gets displayed on the plinth. And we don't even have an attunement bench yet, so we can't use no one can use the relics. And it's just something now that's going to get stored for later use. Now we've got some things sprinkled around the various rooms. And so as well as the brightness, there's the clutter of the room. And the classroom is 11% cluttered, and it says no gremlin will appear, which is good. And then over here in our room with the ritual sigil, we've got 16% cluttered, and it also says no gremlin will appear. So that's good. We don't want to have to really deal with gremlins appearing. It's just something to fight off, and it's something to deal with, like the void shrooms. It's just better to avoid it and not have it. So Quinn has finished his research, and he's ready to research something else. We don't need lightning rods yet. We don't need other planters. We don't need windows. And here we can research basic relics, which will let us build an attunement bench and will let us give one of the wizards the magic item that was created. So that's pretty good. And from what he researched, we can now build bookshelves, which a bookshelf would actually be useful to us. We need 5 smoke reeds, so we'll start getting those, but we can use that to improve our classroom. And we can now start having a bitterus plot outside, which it lets us start farming, so that'll be mildly useful. We can build windows, which is fine. And we can now build a plain bed and a magic mirror. So a plain bed is very, very, very good. And so it lets us build better rooms than just having our wizards on cots in the basement, which is a little bit of a pain for them. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to build out the sides of the school. And so I'm going to chop this tree down, just because I don't want it to impact the school getting built out. And I'm going to chop this tree down as well. And so Quinn is doing research, and Quincy's going to chop these trees down. So that's great. That's exactly what I want him to do. Stuart is still teaching the students. He's harvesting the smoke reeds. So that's fine. Okay, so I think we have now enough smoke reeds to make a bookshelf. We do. And so now we can go up and press F1 and we can look at the basic classroom and I can set the room goal that we want to get an intermediate classroom. And an intermediate classroom must have one or more learning stones, which we have, and it must have one or more bookshelves. So if we build a bookshelf here, then it's going to turn this from a basic classroom into an intermediate classroom. And so right now it gives a it does a 50% bonus to learning and experience. And an intermediate classroom does 100% bonus to learning and experience. So just by building this bookshelf, which is 15 wood and 5 smoke sticks, not very many resources, the room's going to perform dramatically better. It's going to be twice the bonus. So, it's not going to perform twice as well, the classroom, but it's going to do well. Okay, so Birdie is now fully trained, and so Birdie now gets put into our fully trained student category, and Birdie is off going around doing other things. And so what that means is we can now hire Birdie as a staff member. And we have 27 Gnosis shards, so that's enough to hire a staff member. And so we're going to hire Birdie, and we're going to use Quinn, and we're going to use Quincy, and they're going to participate in the ritual. And Quincy's level 5, so he's going to get 180 experience. Quinn is max level, so he's not going to get any experience out of it. But they both get the celebratory conviction bonus, so that's worthwhile. And then Birdie is going to be made into a staff member, and he's going to manifest a level 5 relic. So he didn't complete any of his trials, and so there's no benefit to his relic, and so he's just going to get the level 5. And so that's great. I'm going to begin that, and now the 2 staff members and Birdie are going to go, and they're going to go through the hiring rituals with 25 Gnosis. Birdie just grabbed a lot of the Gnosis there, and they're going through the hiring ritual. And here you can see there's the staff, and then there's this little divider, and here's the student. So Birdie's about to move from the student section to the staff section. And Stuart right now is harvesting smoke reeds because I put a high priority on all those smoke reeds. He's working hard to get all of them, even though we don't really need them. Okay, so Birdie is now a staff member, and you can see that he looks a little bit more mature, and he's a little bit more grown up, and now he's level 3 out of 6. So because he's a staff member, his level maximum's gone up, and he's a nature specialist, just like he was as an apprentice. So we now have our first new staff member since we opened the school, and he's going to be able to do all the things the same way that Quinn and Quincy were doing things. And because he's a nature specialist, we're going to give a high priority to all of the nature activities. So he's going to be our go-to person to make wands and to chop down trees and to have plants. I left all of the staff on high clean, which isn't really what I want to do now because I have students, so I'd rather have the students cleaning. So I'm going to ask the students to be high cleaners, and I'm going to let the staff work on other things. And now Birdie is going to harvest smoke reeds, and Quincy's going to party, and Quinn is going to party. And so that's great. We've got another relic, which we get because Birdie became a staff member. So that gives us a relic. And that means now that this room is cluttered. So a gremlin is going to spawn in 23.9 level, or 23.9 hours, which is a bit of a bummer. And the new relic is a nature relic. And it does the same thing for nature spells when it's on a plinth that the earth Relic did, and it helps mages craft wands 1.5 times faster. So that's kind of nice that they craft wands faster, because that's one of the activities that we want from a nature wizard. So that's great. And we now have 5 wizards here, and we have 6 beds. So I think it would be worth summoning another student, and I'm going to do this for Birdie to try to increase her level. And it turns out there's not any other wands ready. So there's no wands to summon another student. So that won't do me any good, but I'm working on making an earth wand and a dark wand. And once those 2 are done, which it'll probably be tomorrow or something, then we can summon students with them. The Enchantophones allow for a maximum of 4 wizards to dance around it. So we're up to 5 wizards now. So David can't get access to the Enchantophone because it's busy. So that's a little bit of a bummer. It would be nice if we could get him there and increase his relaxation. And so we'd like to buy another, or to build another Enchantophone, but we don't have any iron. So again, this is a reason to go into the dungeon and try to get some iron. So I might be doing that sooner rather than later, although I'd like to heal up all of my wizards before we go into the dungeon. So Birdie now has full health, 93 out of 93, and we could pick one of these two apprentices. The David, the new water apprentice, is vivified, so he has a lot of health. So that's something that maybe we'll do. And Birdie is partying, and so that's fine. And Stuart is building a bookshelf, so he's improving the bedroom. And the fog just got closer, and now the fog can be removed with gutberries and with wood. And so it's pretty close now. So I'm going to harvest gutberries with a 5 priority on both sides of the school. And hopefully Stuart will do that overnight. And then we can do the ritual to push back the fog first thing in the morning, because the fog now says it's going to consume the school tomorrow. So that's not what we want. So Stuart's over here harvesting gutberries, and we have 6 gutberries, so we'll certainly have 9 by the morning. And now he's up here building the bookshelf, and he's trying to turn the basic classroom into so it just changed there. Now it's an intermediate classroom, so the students learn faster now. And we're up to 10 gutberries, so we have enough gutberries to cast the spell in the morning. And I'm going to set Birdie up again so that she eats the creatures and not any of the prepared food. And I'm going to do the same thing with Birdie and Quincy. And then Calliope is also a wolfkin. So it looks like I have 3 wolfkins now. So that's a lot that can eat rats and the chickens. And then the new Vivified, just like the old one, I'll let it eat gutberries instead of prepared meals. So Quinn is the only one eating prepared meals, and all the 3 wolfkin are going to eat rats, and the Vivified will eat gutberries that haven't been cooked. And so at most 1 gutberry will get eaten at breakfast. So I'm okay now for gutberries. I have enough for the ritual. And it looks like Stuart is going to be doing research overnight, which is great. I'd like these trees chopped down, but that'll be a good activity for Birdie as our new nature mage. And so she'll be better at chopping down trees than Stuart. So she can do that first thing in the morning. And so we're on day 7 now, and so it's about to start, and the wizards are going to get out of bed soon. We've got 1 additional cot, and so we're all set for when we summon our next apprentice, which we're going to do hopefully in the near future. and they've started getting out of bed. And I have Quinn is eating, and Quincy's eating, and Birdie's eating. So they're all having their breakfast, and I'll let them do that. And they're eating at the table. And so now they've all gone to work. So Quinn is chopping down a tree, Quincy's cooking, Birdie's chopping down a tree. And so I'm going to go down here for the ritual. And this time I'm going to replace Quinn with Birdie because they get experience from this. I'd rather it goes to the level 3 Birdie instead of the max level Quinn. And then I'm going to do the ritual with David, the Vivified Apprentice, because he has really good health. So I might use him just as a tank if I go into the dungeon. And so if he goes up a level, then he'll be able to take more damage. And so that's potentially a good thing for him. And they're doing the ritual now to push back the fog. And Quinn has gone back to research. And Stuart is teaching Calliope, who's not participating in the ritual. And they're making poor David collect all of the components for the ritual, which hadn't been brought to the chest. So they're kind of working hard. It's a little bit of a pain on that. Okay, so we've pushed back the fog, and that gives us a little bit more breathing room. I think that I would like to go in here and try to get that iron, but Quinn is hurt, Quincy's hurt, Birdie only has 93 health, and David is a pretty good meat shield, and he's gone up to level 2. He's a pretty nice tank. And so I would really like Quinn to be healed and in the front if we're going to go back into the dungeon. Although there's only 2 creatures there, I think it's okay. So let's give it a try. This is maybe a little bit of a risk, but we're going to go in and explore the spine. And David's going to go up front. And Birdie is going to go up front. And then Quincy's in the back. And Quinn is in the back. And they're going to go in and they're going to try to fight these 2 and get into the dungeon and fight and get some iron. So this is very, very, very similar to what we were going through with the ghosts that attacked our school. It's the exact same combat interface. And I'm going to put Vengeance on David and let him sort of fire off a bit of his mana. And I'm going to, with Birdie, she's going to throw Growth on the Belcher and do double damage to him. So that's wonderful. And then I am going to, I can do Bolt. Bolt only does 18, which isn't great. I wouldn't mind recharging, which does 38 mana, which Quincy's already down more than 38. So I'm going to recharge Quincy, and so he'll have more mana to throw his fireballs around. And David can do Torrents, which is a water attack, and it only does 13 damage. But he does have the counterattack, and so he did a couple hits on Belcher, which is great. And I'm going to do Fireball, and I'm going to do Fireball and finish off the Belcher. So this is going pretty well. I'm taking some damage, which I don't love, but I am doing damage to them as well. And again, Quinn only does 18 damage, so I think I would rather use him to recharge some people. So 38 would go back to, no one's really down 38 yet, so I'll just do Bolt and do some damage. And David is unable to counterattack, and so his Torrent only goes forward. So I'll move over so I'm lined up more with the Lantern Keeper and use the Torrent. And then I am going to, I'm going to Fireball the Lantern Keeper. And I'm going to now, the Lantern Keeper's on top of a growth. And growth does damage, but then it also does thorns, which does damage at the end of a round, and it does damage to the creature whenever they leave the space that it's on. And so I'm actually going to use swirling vines, which are going to move the Lantern Keeper forward, and they'll take damage both from the spell and from leaving the growth. So it'll do a couple damage. And so now I'm going to recharge, and Birdie can handle more mana. So I'm going to recharge Birdie. And there's, a 47 hit from Lantern Keeper. So that hurt. And so all David can do is Torrents, which seemed like a miss. And then now Quincy is going to cast a Fireball. And now Birdie is going to move to the back and let Quinn take her spot, and is going to throw growth again on the Lantern Keeper. And so now with Quinn, I think I'd like to recharge again. So I'll recharge Quincy and give him some more mana for future attacks. Whew! This Lantern Keeper hits hard. It just hit David for 47 damage. So we're going to have a lot of time is going to be spent in the medical bed from all of these wizards because of this fight. And so they got some experience, which was great. And it looks like Quincy went up a level, which is good. And that should increase Quincy's health back to full. So Quincy's at full health, full mana, because he went up a level. And Quinn is hurt 81 out of 127, and Birdie's hurt 24 out of 93, so really hurt. And David, the apprentice, is down 50 or 101 out of 211. So everybody got hurt, but we then got the stone and, most importantly, the iron here that we were looking for. So that is some new items, and I'm going to use the iron. I was going to use the iron to make a second enchantophone, but it's 25 iron, so that's not enough. And so I also would like to use iron to make a spindle, but it needs 20 iron, and I only have 10. And so really, that iron doesn't help me with anything. So live and learn. That was kind of a pointless fight. And over here now, Quinn is going to go back to researching, Quincy's going to go back to cooking, and Birdie's going to go and chop down those trees. And I want the trees basically removed from next to the school. And so it's kind of a win-win. I'm going to get some wood out of it, and I'm going to use Birdie's nature ability, and I'm going to get it out of the way. And so now what I'm doing is the way that the structure works is it's based on the wall as you move further away from the wall. So I can kind of build out a leaf here to the limits of the structure, and then I can build walls with four, with a wall with a height of 4, and then I can build a neat little roof. And I have another room that's off to the side here from the intermediate classroom. And I'll do the same thing over here, which I can now. And so the tree's removed. And so I'm going to build out to here. And I'm going to build a wall. And I'm going to build a roof. And I think I actually put a door in over here, but I think I'm going to do hallways again and save myself the wood. And so now I've got a bit more space, and I'm going from 2 rooms in the second level to 4 rooms in the second level. So we finished the research, and so we now have these attunement benches, which will let us assign a relic to a wizard, which is useful to us. So we're going to build an attunement bench. They require 8 iron, so it's lucky we got that iron, and then some wood and some smoke sticks. So we'll get going with that. And there's no urgency for any of this stuff to get built, so we'll just let Stuart keep teaching the students, and we'll let Quinn keep chopping down trees, and we'll let Quincy craft the wands, which is a little bit of a waste. That would be better if Birdie was doing it, but I guess Quincy's done all the cooking. He's cooked up all the small carcasses that we had, and so he's only cooked 3 out of 11 of them because we're out of small carcasses to cook. And so he's working away on that, and so that's great. And as soon as we get this earth wand made, I'm going to summon another apprentice to take the place of Ilani when we graduated her. And we do have a wand here, so that's great. And I'm going to go here to rituals, and I'm going to summon another student, and I'm going to do Birdie again because she can use the experience. The other 2 are maxed out, and she's going to summon a new earth student. And the lunch break is on, and so people are doing some work in the middle of the day, and Stuart is building the attunement bench. Now he's given up. And over here, Quincy is cutting down the tree, which would have got in the way of our room. So that's a good, a good activity for Quincy. And now Quincy is building the attunement bench, which is also a good activity. And I'm out of research, so Quinn is off doing something else, but I want to keep getting research done. And I basically now have got all of the research that I care about completed. So I'm just going to add all the remaining research so that it'll go through and research them automatically. As soon as one's done, it'll move on to the next. And there's a lot of research here. And all of these things are useful, important things, but I've got the kind of high priority research done. So I'm just going to get all of the research done at this level. Here we have really good things, but it's the next level of research. So we need to have a mage with a lightning skill of 3, which we have. So that's good. Quinn can do that. But we also need it to be performed in a mage's study, a mage's tower, or a mage's hermitage. And we don't have any of those 3 things yet. So we'll have to build one of those by the time we finished off all the first tier researches. And so up here, Quincy's building the attunement bench, and the attunement bench is finished now. So I'm going to go to our new earth student who was just brought in, and I am going to give him the earth relic, which was provided by Alani when she graduated. And I'm going to give Birdie the nature relic, which was created when she became a staff member. So they're going to each get a new magic item, and they need to go to this. I've assigned it to them, but they need to go to the attunement bench and attune the relic to them. And so I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to give a high priority to all of the wizards if I ever ask them to attune a relic. So they're going to make that their top priority anytime they're assigned a relic to attune. And the students will still do class before going to attune a relic. And so Edward is still learning. He's not running away from class, but Birdie has run over, and she's starting to attune the relic that I assigned to her. And when the 3 times a day that Edward gets activities that he can do things, he'll attune the relic instead of moving things into storage, which he probably would have done otherwise. And so Birdie's got 55%, 57, and she's attuning the relic. $76, $80, $95. And so she finished attuning the relic, And so now this Birdies, which it was created by her being hired, it now is attuned to her. And it, if you remember the ability on that, it gives her 1.5 times faster crafting wands. So she's already the best at making wands because she has 3 nature magic, which is what's used. And now she'll be even better at it because she's got this bow relic as a magic item. And Edward is now going to attune the relic that he has now that Birdie's finished with the bench. And he's going to go and start attuning it. And both of these rooms are neat. They're not too cluttered and everything is lit well. And so Stuart has started building out these wings. You can see that the corridor has been built. And Quinn is eating, and so he's going to recreate soon. And Quincy is helping build the floors. And Birdie is on medical rest. So Birdie decided that the best thing she could do is lay down and heal, but she got up for the dance party. So good for her. We now have 6 wizards. So that means 2 of them are left out when there's the dance party. So that's a little bit of a pain that recreating only 4 can get in at a time. But when wizards are assigned recreation, if they can't get to the enchantophone, then they will go and do work instead. So the fog is 2 days away from the school. It says that it's dangerously close, but that's not really dangerously close. And I need gutberries and wood to push it back again. So I'm going to go out here and I am going to highlight gutberries. And I'm going to harvest them and I'm going to give 5 priority. And I'm going to go over and I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to harvest gutberries and I'm going to give them 5 priority. So probably Stuart is going to head off right away and start gathering up gutberries. But the other wizards are all going to go to bed. And so once the dance party's over. So they're coming up on midnight. We're finishing up day 7. It's about to be day 8. And all of the wizards are going to go to bed while the ghost gathers gutberries for the ritual in the morning. Oh, geez, it's a really late night. So we're up to 7 gutberries already. So for whatever reason, Stuart has decided that it's better to do some building instead of gathering gutberries. I'm not sure if maybe all of the ripe gutberries have been gathered, which is a little bit of a pain, but they'll grow in the morning in the sunlight and so these are 95% grown. So I suspect that's what's happened. He's harvested all the grown gutberries and all the other vines are still growing. And so as soon as they are grown, he'll go and get them. So here we have another room's been made. And now if we look at the F2, the brightness levels again, it's dark and void shrooms are going to grow there. And so the lower rooms are 51% lit, or 51% lit and 56% lit. And up here we have 57 and 58. And I think we might have more torches than we technically need. So I'm going to move one of those torches over to the new room. And then I'm going to build a second torch. And then over here, we don't have the back yet. And so Stuart's going over here and he moved a torch. So I was wrong. So I needed that torch in this room. So it's gone down to 46% lit and the void shroom will spawn in 1.5 days. And this one here, it says that it'll spawn in 1.4 days. And so the second torch here will bring this up to 52%. So I think that's enough torches for this room. But I now need to build another torch in this room here. And so I'll do that. And when I build this room, it'll probably need a couple torches there. Okay, so there we are. And so now the second torch was enough. And so now this is a well-lit room. And here, Stuart has started building this torch. And so the wizards have started waking up, and the rooms are all well lit. And so now we have this room here. And I think what I would like to do is turn this room down below into a mess hall so that they can eat there when they get up in the morning, and it'll give +5 conviction to student diners. So it'll help them eat. And when I press F1 on it and I choose that as the room goal, it shows me the current problems. And so I need 2 or more dining tables. That's easy to do. And I must not have any research station, crafting station, or refining beasts. And so the refining beast here is a problem. And so I'll just move the refining beast up a level. And so it'll be out of the way. And I can build another dining table, no problem. But the interior is an issue. And so rooms have these keywords, like grounded is when they are on the first level of the school. And interior means that they have to have rooms around them. They can't have outside space to the left, the right, above, or below. And so the below it is the ground, which is fine. And then there's a room here, and the outside is here. So it's hard to turn this into an inside room. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build a wall right here, and I'm going to put a hallway in it, and I'm gonna prioritize the hallway. And so this will make a tiny slim room here, which will then be to the right of this room. And so that'll turn this room into an interior room. And so we've removed the refining beast, so that's no longer a problem. And it still is saying that it needs to be an interior room. So then they're gonna go back to building here. And the fog is dangerously close, so I was supposed to do a ritual, and it looks like they've eaten the gut berries. So I'm still waiting on gut berries in order to do the ritual. And so here, if I go over here, I'm not seeing any gutberry vines. Oh, here we go. And so here, and I'm going to do higher priority, and we'll just see what happens with the gutberries. We want to get to 9 gutberries. Okay, and so now the walls are finished here, and if I press F1 here, it now says that it is an interior room now. So that's perfect. And the Enchantophone doesn't seem to be a problem. So I'm going to build a second dining room table here, which is what it requires. And then this is going to turn this into a mess hall. And when I press 2 here, it says that this room's now dark, and it's going to spawn a void shroom in 24 hours. So I'm going to get a wall torch, and I'm going to put that in. And so I'm going to, Quincy's eating, but once Quincy finishes eating, I'm going to get him to go and hunt a rat for me, because I need viscera for the torch. And so I was out of viscera. And so then now I'll go in here and I'll put a torch into this slim room. And so that'll at least stop void shrooms from forming there. And then Quinn is researching, which is great. And Quincy is cooking, which is great. And Birdie is moving things, which isn't what I want her to do. And so I guess there's just nothing else for her to do right now if she's moving things. So I'm going to get her to summon the new student with the dark wand that she created. And so that's something useful for her to do. And then Stuart is harvesting gutberry vines, which was great, but then class started. So he ran over and he's back to educating the 3 students that we have. So we've got 3 staff, we've got 3 students, so we've got 1 cot to spare, which is good. And we've got everybody at work on useful activities. And we've got 7 gut berries. We're trying to get up to 9 gut berries. So we now have our new earth student, which is great. Or our new dark student. We've never had a dark student before, but we've got Fritz, who's another wolfkin. We've got tons of wolfkins here. And so I'll go and set up for meals that Fritz should eat rats and koa, the same as the other wolfkin. And Edward shouldn't eat gut berries. We want him to eat gut berry soup or carcass stew so he doesn't get upset eating gut berries because nobody likes them. And there are the 4 students working away at that. And we've got our Edward is still attuning his relic. And Stuart is teaching, Quinn is researching, Quincy is building the new dining room table, which is great. And Birdie has gone back to putting things in storage, which isn't quite what we want. I don't know why she isn't harvesting any gut berries unless none of the vines are mature, which again is not great. I really need to get this ritual off. And so I need the next, okay, so this room just changed to a mess hall, and so that's great now. So when students eat here, they're going to get a +5 conviction bonus, and staff will eat here, and they're not going to get a bonus from it, but they're going to avoid the -2 penalty for eating outside a dining area. So that's good that they'll start doing that. And so I'm sending off Birdie to chop down a tree, I'm sending her off to harvest a wormweed plant just while I wait for the harvest vines, the gutberry vines, to grow. And then as soon as they get grown, then hopefully somebody will go and harvest them. Hopefully Birdie, since she's our nature specialist. And then when we get up to 9 gutberries, we can do the ritual to push back the fog. Okay, so Birdie finished the wormwood, and she's going on medical rest now, which is fine, I guess. And Quinn is researching, so if I could find gutberries, if I could find a grown gutberry, I'd send Quinn over to get it, but I'm not really seeing it yet. So I think I'm still waiting for it to grow, which is a little bit maddening. Okay, so we've now got fully trained 2 students. So Calliope is fully trained and David is fully trained. And just like before, they've now switched to the schedule where they're going to stop studying because there's nothing more for them to learn. And they're just going to work. And so they're going to start carting things around and doing storage like our students were doing before we started our school. And our Gnosis shards are at 25 shards. So that means that we can get one of these 2 to be staff, and then the other one can graduate. And so I like David right now because he has so much health. And so if I have to fight, I can put David up front and he's got 230 hit points, whereas Calliope only has 84 hit points. So I think I'm going to make David the staff member and I'm going to graduate Calliope. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose to graduate and I'm going to choose Calliope. And I'm going to get Birdie. I'm going to bring her off of bed rest, and she'll get 100 experience out of it. And we're going to graduate Calliope and get another level 5 relic out of it. And so she's off to do that. And so that means that I'd like to replace her. So I'm going to make another level 1, or I'm going to make another air wand. And as soon as she's graduated, then I'm going to hire David as the 4th staff member. Okay, so Calliope has been graduated and we've got another relic. And so now we can just go to the ritual sigil and we can choose hire staff, and we want to hire David, and we want all 3 staff members to be involved. So it's going to make them happy that they were part of the hiring. So that's great for them to do that. And while they're doing the hiring ritual, Stuart is teaching the remaining 2 students more magic. So Birdie just hit level 4, which is great, and that healed all of his health. So that's good that Birdie's back to full health. And so between that and between David being hired as staff, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable about any fights. Quinn is down. He has 81 out of 127 hit points, but he's the only injured staff member now. So that's pretty good. That means that Quinn will get the bed tonight, and he'll heal on the medical rest. And so I'm happy about that. And we're about to get David as our 4th staff member. And there we go. So now he's a staff member. We have 2 new relics. And so the new relics we have a Tankard of the Tinker, which helps mages assemble and paint 1.5 times faster. And then it has the same ability for air spells as the nature and earthworks that we had before. And we have for Vivified, we have a relic that helps mages research 1.5 times faster. So that would be a wonderful relic for Quinn. It would help him research, but he doesn't have a Vivified relic slot. So he has a human slot, he has a blessing slot, and he has a lap of luxury slot. And David has a Vivified slot, so he could learn it, but his lightning is 1. So I'm not going to use David to research. So it's a waste to put that relic on him. So although I love the power, this is kind of useless to me right now. And the Tankard of the Tinkered is good. If I had an air mage, which I don't right now, but that's the wand that I'm making right now. So when I get a new air mage, I can first thing attune the relic to them, and they'll get the ability for that. So it's early enough in the day, and I have a pretty strong, pretty well healed slate of 4 wizards now. So I think I'm going to go back to the dungeon, and I'm going to fight with them again. And so I've got David up front, and he has the most health at 230. And then Quincy has the second most health at 107. And so I'll put him at the front. And then I'll put Quinn and Birdie at the back to fight against a Lantern Keeper and a Drowned one. And we can see here what their weaknesses are. So the Lantern Keeper is weak to dark and earth, which I don't have either of those here. I do have apprentices that do both of those things, but I don't think I'm going to bring them yet. And then the Drowned one is weak to fire and weak to lightning and strong against water. So that's good. I'll have a nice fight against them here, and I'm feeling pretty strong about taking them out. And I'm at 9 gut berries now. So I didn't notice, but I've got 9 gut berries. And so when they get back from this battle, I can do the ritual to push back the fog. So I think I'm going to do Vengeance with Quincy to get some mana deployed and attack some of these. Then I'm going to throw Vengeance on David because he has more mana. And then the Lantern Keeper, I have nothing that can hurt it, but I do have a bunch of things that can hurt the downed one. So I'm going to use Swirling Vines, which let me swap their positions. And I'll put the Drowned one up front and center. So now all of my mages that can do extra damage to it because of its resistance, I can start hitting the Drowned one and hopefully do damage against it with that. And so David The water mage is doing this torrent that hits the front and the back. And Quincy is going to use Fireball, which does double damage against the drowned one. So that does 112 damage. So that was pretty nice. And so now I'm going to do Swirling Vines to finish off the drowned one and bring the Lantern Keeper back up front, which doesn't really matter because there's nothing behind it. I'm just trying to kill the Lantern Keeper. So I can recharge with Quinn, which I think I want to do, and I'm going to recharge Birdie, who's the weakest or has the lowest mana out of all of the wizards right now. And David has really low, he's been blinded and he has really low power right now. So I'm going to use another one of his abilities, Concentrated Drops, which gives armor to the 2 mages in the front row. And so that should help protect them. And I'm going to do some fire damage to the Lantern Keeper. And I'm going to throw Growth on the Lantern Keeper with Birdie. And I've got Quinn, and Quinn's got lots of mana. So I'm going to help some of these other wizards get some more mana. So I'm going to put more mana on Quincy. So Quinn is going to put more mana on Quincy. And so the armor paid off there already. And Torrent, so I could do Torrent against the Lantern Keeper, but the my power is so lowered that it doesn't do any damage. So I'm just going to pass instead of doing that so that he gets 15 mana and he accumulates some mana. Here I can do 28. I can do 28 fire damage, which is good, and that finished him off. And I got 50 iron, so that's good. I'm rolling an iron now, which is exactly what I wanted and exactly what I needed. So now I can go back into build, and I can look at some of these things that I wanted to build that I didn't have enough iron to build. So I wanted to build a second Enchantophone, and so I'm going to do that and let them all participate in the dance parties. And then I want to do a spindle, but I'm low on stone. So I have 63 out of 70 stone. So I'm going to go to the surface rock, and I'm going to increase the priority 1 to 4, and I'm going to try to collect all of this surface rock that I've left until now and get enough to make a spindle. And I promised that I was going to repel the fog. And so I'm going to do that with David and Birdie so that they get some experience. And then I'm also going to use Fritz as the student helper. And so then that should repel at 90 and give each of them a little bit of experience. And so that's looking pretty nice. And a bunch of the staff now are injured. So they're going to start sleeping in the medical bed at night, and they will start getting some health back. So now I have this room up top here, which I could be using for something useful. I've got a mess hall, I've got a scullery, and I've got an intermediate classroom. And so I think this might be good, and it might be time to make a bedroom. And so we've got a plain bed. We need 14 wood, which we have a fair bit of wood, and we need 1 wormweed. And so we need 20 wormweed, or we need 1 wormweed, and we have 20. So that's great. We can make these beds. And I'm going to look at it, and I would like to make a bedroom for the staff. And so for this to be a bedroom, it needs to be silent, which it is. It needs to have 1 or more plain beds, fancy beds, or canopy beds. It has to have 2 or fewer beds, and it has to have a window. And so I can build the window. I'll go to lighting, and I've got this small rectangular window now, and I will choose the window, and I'm going to let them start the ritual before I build the beds because I don't want to steal wood away from the ritual when they're about to start it. And so then they've started it now. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to build a plain bed, and I'm going to build a plain bed so 2 staff can sleep in there. And now it shows me the room goals whenever I mouse over it. So it's going to be 1 or more plain beds, which I have 1. It has to have 2 or fewer beds, and I just built 2. It's going to have 1 or more windows, which I've built the windows, so that's coming. And then I have to have 5 or more luxury, and I have 3 luxury. But these torches give -2 luxury, and I won't need them anymore when I have the window. So I'm going to move these over to here, which it's not ready for them yet. So just to remove them and have them come, I'm going to shrink the 2 of them. So those 2 will be shrunk, which will remove them from the room, which will give me the luxury, which will then give me the bedroom for my staff. So that's wonderful. That's working there. And we've got Quincy here coming to set up the bedroom. And Stuart finished teaching, so he's going off to mine some surface rock, which I want him to do. I need to get some stone to get up to 70 stone. I'm at 58 right now. So that's good if he's working on that. And Quincy's building the plain bed for me there. And I'm at 5 Gnosis shards, so probably Edward and Fritz, I'm going to graduate them because it looks like neither of them will necessarily be ready to be a staff member. So that's fine. And they're working away at that. So I've got Stuart mining, I've got Quinn listening to the Enchantophone. They never finished building the Enchantophone, which is unfortunate. So it would have been nice if Quincy had have built the Enchantophone instead of working on this bedroom. So I should have given that a higher priority. I'm going to get him to assemble the Enchantophone now and see if we can get it built while the dance party's going on. And so we'll see how that goes. He'll probably just finished building it right when they're over for the night and everybody's going to sleep. But that's fine. The bedroom's not going to be finished for tonight. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got it and the dance party's still on. So now all of my wizards can all dance because I've got 2 Enchantophones and I have 6 wizards. So there's 2 spots that are available, and the fog has advanced again, but it's a ways away. And right now it uses Viscera, which I've got 24 Viscera now. So I've got 31 Viscera. So I got enough that I could do the ritual when the fog is further away if I got another 30 wormweed, which Birdie is good at harvesting. So that might be worth doing. And so I'll order that the wormweed gets harvested, and maybe Birdie will do that, and we will be able to push back the fog again and save having to get to 9 gut berries and 74 wood, which we're short on wood right now. So I better get some trees chopping down, and we're a little short on gut berries. So hopefully once those are fully grown, they will get harvested. So where are my gut berries here? Maybe I harvested them all. Gut berries. Oh, here's some gut berries. So I'm going to double click to get all of them. And then I'm going to choose to harvest them. And I'll put that up to a level 4. It's not super urgent to get gut berries yet, but I would like to have enough to be able to push back the fog if it gets closer. And so the dance party is wrapping up, and so Quincy's off cooking some food, which I'd rather he was finishing setting up the bedroom. But down here, all of the everybody seems to be getting into bed. There is just a Oh, there we go. So Edward went around the back here, and I was trying to figure out where he went, and he was going to the reverse bed. Sometimes there won't be a bed, and the wizards will just go and sleep on the floor, and then the next morning they're deeply unhappy for having slept on the floor. So that's no good. And there's a dark room right now, the bedroom, because I've shrunk the torches. And so we're going to get void shrooms in 16 hours, which we should have the window fixed before then. We've started a new day, and we've got a horror culture, which just affects some of the growth of plants, of crops and things. So that doesn't really matter too much for us. So that is a pretty minimal. That's a pretty minimal special event. And over here, we've got some of the staff are recovering from their combat down here. And as you can see, we've expanded the underground a little bit, and we've got a few different places where we can go and keep fighting if we wanted to try and get some more resources, which that doesn't really feel like a priority right now, because we've got that big load of iron. And so we'll set up the bedroom, and we will set things up here. So that's good. Okay, so we're still healing. 3 of the wizards are injured, and they're all eating now in the mess hall, which is great. And now Stuart is mining, and Quinn is researching, and Quincy is assembling, and Birdie is harvesting wormweed. So everybody's doing what I want them to do. David, I never gave him instructions, and he's a water mage, which I don't really have much of a use for right now. So I want him to do alchemy when I eventually need alchemy to be done. I'm going to get him to clean just because that's a water activity and there's nothing else for him to do. And I think I'm going to set him up to teach. So, just like Stuart, he could teach because there's nothing really better for him to do, nothing more important. And he's moving items to storage, which is good. And Edward just completed one of his trials, which I didn't even know what his trials were. And he just did that randomly. So that's great. And they get some experience when they finish their trials. So that was enough to make him fully trained. So he's now level 3 and he knows all of the different types of magic. And so he's ready to leave. And he's now switched to a fully trained student, and he's going to do work around the school, moving things into storage and whatnot. But we don't really need him to do that. We've got other people moving them around, and we have 7 shards of gnosis, so I can't make him a staff member, even though I would like to. So that means we are going to graduate Edward and send him off, and we'll get another level 6 relic. And I am going to, Birdie could do it, but David doesn't have anything better to do, and he needs the experience more because he's a lower level. And so we'll get David to graduate Edward, and that'll send him off. And I think that'll probably clutter the room when we get up another relic. So now the room is cluttered, and a gremlin is going to spawn in 24 hours. And if we look at the relics and we see the new relic, this is what we just got from Edward graduating, and it requires a wolfkin, and it lets them hunt 1.5 times faster. So that's just a perfect relic for Quincy to have. And so he is a wolfkin, and he likes to hunt. So now he's got that to be attuned. And because I set his priority high for attuning, as soon as I said that I wanted him to attune that relic, he immediately rushed off to do it, and he picked it up, and he is at the he is at the attunement bench and he's attuning that relic, which is exactly what I want. The room's still cluttered, so I need to deal with some of the other things here. And the other thing that happened was Edward had the gizmo of the strongmen that was assigned to him as a relic because he was an earth mage. And so when he graduated, he left it behind, and it went up in level both when he was training with while he had it attuned and when he graduated. So now Quincy is the only person who can attune it, and what it does is for constructing and carving 1.5 times faster. So it's no good for Quincy. So that is a waste. And then the tankard of the tinker is here as well. And this does helps mages assemble, which would be great if I had an air mage, which I don't. And then I have the research, which would be great. And here, so I think I have an air wand now. So I have David available again. So he just finished off the graduation. So I'm going to get David to summon an air initiate, and we'll assign them that relic. And then we would like a new earth apprentice to replace Edward. And if we got an air apprentice and an earth apprentice, we'd be back having one of each. So then that would be good. And we right now have 4, 5, 6 beds. So we have 5 staff and we have 6 beds. So we've got a bed for the new wizard who we are summoning. So that's good. And so Birdie's over here building the earth wand that I asked for. It looks like they just finished the halfway point for teaching, and David has summoned a new apprentice named Gladys. And now Gladys is an air mage, and so I'm going to give her the tankard of the tinker to attune, and that will make her a better air mage. And I could get her to attune, because she's a vivified, I could get her to attune the geode, but that's for researching, which she's got 2 lightning, but I'd really rather give that to somebody who had 3 lightning. So that isn't really worth too much, but that should hopefully attune one of these relics and get it out of the room before the gremlin spawns. So I have now 2 relics, which aren't any good for any of my mages, but when I get this earth mage, that they might be able to use it. And so I just said I've got 6 wizards and I have 6 cots, so I'm sort of pushing my luck a little bit now. There's not really anywhere for them to sleep, but I'm going to get David to summon another student with the earth wand that I just built, and I'm hoping that the bedroom will be finished before tonight, and they'll be able to then sleep in the bedrooms. And I've got my fog ritual is all set to go. We've harvested some wormweed, so things are really kind of kicking into high gear now, because I've got 4 staff members and they can work on things that they're specialized in. And so I'm getting more resources and I'm getting things built, and everything's working a lot more strongly, a lot more fast, and a lot more efficiently in my school. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this ritual again, and I'm going to do it with Fritz, just because I want Gladys and Horatio to potentially attune items if they get the opportunity. So I've got Birdie and David, and they're the two doing the ritual. And Quinn and Quincy have better things to do, and they won't get any experience from it anyway. So I'm going to get Stuart to be the third staff member. This is a stronger ritual. It lets me put more wizards there because it's further out. So it's just stronger than the wood and gutberry ritual. And so I'll let them do it. And Quincy's still building these beds and building this this room. And Gladys is here attuning her relic. And I'm going to look at Horatio now. And he's a Raven Cult Insider, which we haven't seen those before. We've seen humans, and we've seen Wolfkin, and we've seen Vivified, but we haven't seen Raven Cult. And Raven Cult get an unknown scar effect that negatively impacts them somehow, so it's something they hate, and gives them negative conviction as they move around the school. But they're quite strong with all of their abilities. So this apprentice has 168 health and 102 mana and 23 power. So they're very strong overall. So these are really the best race. If you're going to choose a race, the Raven Cult Initiates are a good race to choose. And so he is an Earth Mage, and so I want to tune the Earth Relic to him, but I can't because it's a level 3 relic, and he's only a level 1 apprentice. So I'm not going to be able to tune that to him until he's level 3 and just about ready to graduate, which is fine. But this is the next staff member I want. So I'm going to graduate Fritz and Gladys, and I'm going to save up my Gnosis shards to make Horatio my next staff member because I want to keep him as a Raven Cult Initiate. That's kind of the best race. Humans are good for mana, but then Raven Cult Initiates are good for just raw power. So poor Horatio standing there waiting to learn, and everybody's busy with the ritual. So I could get him off to bring something and store it, but it doesn't want to let me do that because he's scheduled to learn, and so I'm just going to leave him alone. It would be better if he was doing something useful, but it's fine to just let him do that. And the room is neat. The gremlin isn't going to come out, so that's good. And Quincy is working on the bed, and he finished it, which turned this into a bedroom. So now there is going to be a bonus to any staff members who sleep here. They get staff members who sleep in a bedroom gets +5 conviction. So that's good. Right now they're getting a penalty because they're sleeping on cots. So right now they get or no penalty, but they don't get a benefit. So that's good. That'll keep them happier. So what I am going to do is I'm going to look at the conviction, and right now Quinn has a 47 conviction. Quincy has a 63 conviction. Birdie has an 83 conviction, and David has a 75 conviction. So I'm going to give this bed to Quinn. So I'm going to go to access, and I'm going to say that I only want staff to be in this bedroom, and then I want Quinn to sleep in this bed instead of on a cot. So that, since he's my lowest conviction staff, that should help him be happier after he sleeps at night. And so I can look at Quinn, and he likes impressive dining, which is fine, and he prefers to recreate in a room with Quincy, but he doesn't care who he sleeps with. And Quincy doesn't care who he sleeps with, and Birdie doesn't care who she sleeps with, and David doesn't care who he sleeps with. So that's fine. All my staff are okay with their situation, and they don't care who they're sleeping with. So once this bed is finished, I'm just going to put the second lowest conviction staff member in the other bed. So Fritz is now fully trained, and I only have 15 Gnosis, so I don't have enough for him to become a staff member, but I'd be saving it for Horatio anyway. So we're going to graduate Fritz, and I am going to get David to do that because he has the lowest level and he doesn't have anything better to do. So he'll supervise the graduation ritual, and we will graduate Fritz, and he's heading off, and Fritz is a dark, so we will get a new dark wand, and then I think I'm going to be graduating Gladys probably, and so I'm probably going to want another air wand because Horatio is going to use up all the Gnosis shards to become a staff member. Okay, so we have another bed now, and I can give another staff member access to that. So Quincy's conviction is 59, Birdie's is 78, and David's is 72. So Quincy has the second lowest conviction, and so I'm going to go to access, and I'm going to say this is just for staff, and Quincy's going to go on the plain bed now, and he's going to sleep there tonight. So now I have 4 wizards, and I have a bunch of cots here. So basically I'm all set now for any students that come in, and I don't have any wands right now, but as soon as the wands are made, I can get David to summon more students. Okay, so we've got a corrupted mana lantern that these can appear as one of the special events that they get. And what they do is they give sibilant hissing that give a -10 conviction to any wizards who have a level 1 wand, which is all my wizards right now. So this is a little bit of a pain in the ass, which these kind of prompt you to explore the underground dungeon. So if you're not going in and conquering these rooms, things like this appearing, it sticks around forever and does conviction penalties. So it encourages you to go in and take it out. If I looked at the Superior Repel Fog ritual, all of the resources are things that I don't have. It's very expensive. So I'm not going to repel fog anytime soon. It's early-ish in the day, and I've got Quinn is injured and Quincy's injured, but Birdie is fully healed and David is fully healed. So I think I might actually be able to take on the level 2 corrupted mana lantern fight here. So I think I might just do that and get rid of this right as it appeared. And so I have David up front, and I have Quincy up front, which I don't want him to be in the front. And then I want to have Birdie up front with 102 health, and then I want Quincy at the back here, and that will begin a fight against the Lantern Keeper and a corrupted mana lamp, and they're off to do that fight. And class is in session here, and Gladys and Horatio are the students studying. So they are hard at work, and they're producing some Gnosis shards, and it's a neat room. No gremlins are going to spawn. In the ritual room, I thought that it was clear, but it looks like gremlins are going to spawn in 23 hours. So there's a smoke pearl here, which for whatever reason isn't getting stored. So I'm going to put it at a high priority for storage. And so then when one of the students is done class, they'll run over and grab it and store it away. And one of them was just heading over there right now to do it. So here we have a corrupted mana lantern, which has a shield on it. So that means that the first damage it takes, it doesn't take any damage from it. And it gains 1 shield at the battle start. So that's this shield here. And we have this Lantern Keeper, which has a fair amount of health, 319 health. And it's weak to darkness and to earth, and I don't have either of those things here. So I'm going to use the Swirling Vines with Birdie to hit the Lantern Keeper and the Mana Lantern behind it. And so that got rid of the shield, so that's good. And it did some damage to the Lantern Keeper. And so now I am going to put Vengeance on David, because he has the torrent, so he'll hit both of them whenever he gets hit. And he can take damage. Hopefully they're hitting him. That would be better. And then I can recharge 38. And Quincy can handle 47 mana. and Quinn and Birdie can handle 30 mana. So I will recharge Quincy. And so unfortunately they attacked Birdie instead of David because David retaliated. But then the Lantern attacked all of my staff, which was bad. So they were sort of injured in the back. So that hurt it. So I'm now going to do a Torrent with David, and it's going to hit the Corrupted Mana Lantern again. And I'm going to do the same thing as well with the Swirling Vines. And so I'm doing my damnedest to do some damage to them before they do their attack again, which is coming up soon, and it might knock out some of my mages. So here, Vengeance. I could do Vengeance on the front, which, you know, Birdie would do some damage back, which would be fine. David still has counterattack, so I'm going to try to get some more damage out and end this fight a little bit sooner. And so here I have Bolt, which would go against the Corrupted Mana Lantern, and it's weak to lightning, which it'll do double damage. So 18 doubled is 36. So I'm going to remove the Mana Lantern right before it attacked a second time and potentially took down some of my mages. So that was very lucky that I knocked out the Mana Lantern before it attacked. And then the Lantern Keeper attacked David, who he did some damage to it, and he's been blinded, so his attack power is lower, so he can't do any damage to the Lantern Keeper. So I'm going to put concentrated drops to protect my two frontline fighters, and I'm going to slap a Growth on the Lantern Keeper. We're going to try to finish him off before he can attack again, hopefully. And so we're doing all this damage. I can do 18 damage to him, so I don't know that I can do this before he acts, but so be it. He'll do some damage to Birdie, apparently, which she had armor, so that was good. And then again, I could attack with David, which I think I will, with the flow, so it'll do at least a little bit of damage, and then the ongoing damage from the thorns from the growth attack did some damage. And so we removed the Corrupted Mana Lantern, so it's not going to cause the conviction penalty anymore. And I'm roughed up again, so they're going to head back and climb into the medical bed, but it's slow going to get them healed from that. And we had Quincy had the trophy of the hunter, so he has this tuned to him, and he has a relic, and the relic gained a level, so it went up to level 2 because he got some experience with the fight. So it now is a better relic, which it gives him a bonus to hunting, which the bonus is going to stay the same all 6 levels it has, but it's better to have higher level relics than lower level relics. And there's some iron here, and there's some viscera here, and there is a gnosis vein that I can mine and get some gnosis, and there's a couple small carcasses, and there are some dire rats down there that I could attack if I wanted to. And so we're going back, and Stuart is harvesting gutberry vines. I wanted that done when I thought I might be having to do the wood and gutberry ritual again, but it looks like that's okay. But he can do that. Quinn is going to go back to research, which is great. Quincy's going to go back to cooking, which is great. And Birdie's going to go to crafting a dark wand, which is exactly the next thing I want her to do. So everybody's doing what I want. David is going out to mine some rock, which it's fine. There's nothing more useful he can do. So that's fine. And once the wand is made, I will summon the dark. The dark. I'll summon the dark apprentice. Can I do that yet? No, it isn't ready. I thought it might be ready. And so I'll just let that do its thing. And the students are bringing in, they're moving things around. And so if I go here now, I can craft a spindle, which I talked about some time ago. This is a really, really useful device that I'm going to create. And I'm going to have it under construction. And I'm actually going to make it higher priority because it's useful. And because I had the iron, I could make that. I can make a lightning rod, which is kind of useful when storms start coming in. I can make large windows, which I don't need yet. And I've made everything here, and I don't need any of the, furniture, and I've got all the construction is underway. And I do need some wood, but I've given orders for all of the trees to be harvested. And so hopefully Birdie is going to go and get some wood. So it just came up. I mentioned that when I got Horatio that he has a scar, and it's something that is going to develop that he doesn't like. And what he has is he hates simple dining. So when he's eating in a dining room that has 15 luxury or less, he gets a big penalty from it. It sort of ticks him off that he's eating somewhere that's so, mundane. And the mess hall has a luxury of -6. So it doesn't matter for anybody, but it does matter for Horatio, and he doesn't like it. Right now I can build bookshelves to get a little bit of luxury. And I can build magic mirrors for a little bit of luxury. And that's about it. I get luxury from the roof, but this mess hall's on the ground level. So that's not good for me. That's going to piss off Horatio, but he's an apprentice. And for the most part, apprentices are reasonably happy. So I don't think it's really going to be a problem until I hire him as a staff member. And so I'm not going to worry about it right now, but that's going to be something that I'm going to have to sort out for him later on, that I'm going to eventually make a staff dining room, and he will eat there once he becomes a staff member, and he's going to want it to be fancier. So we'll have to do that. So the fog just moved closer, and I'm back to the second level ritual that I can push it back with 48 wormweed pods, which I'm almost there, and with 24 viscera, which I'm almost there with 12 viscera. So I'm going to go up to the midden jelly, and I've just told it that I only need 11 viscera, and so I'm going to put it up to 24 viscera, which is how many I need for this ritual. I need 24. Yeah, so I'll set that up to 24. So this will start refining viscera for me, which is useful. I'll want more ectoplasm eventually, so I'm going to put that up to 21. And the sinew isn't really as important right now. And so then now the other thing is I can go and I can start hunting the rats, which will give me viscera as well. And when Quincy has time, he should hunt rats for me. And there's also a croa, which we haven't seen a whole lot of them, but they're kind of like chicken creatures. And I'll get the croa to be hunted by Quincy. So I've given orders for all of these rats, all of the dire rats to be hunted, and all of the croas, there's only one, to be hunted. And so now that just becomes another task that Quincy can do when he's doing something. Instead of cooking, he can go off and he can hunt, which he will do, and he does it faster when he's done all his cooking. So right now we need carcass stew and we need gutberry soup, and so there's food that people want to eat. So I'm not sure how much hunting he's going to do, but if he gets up to date on, if he gets all his cooking done, then he can go and do that. The the bedroom now is 55% lit because of the window, and so I don't need to worry about void shrooms. And nobody has worked on this room in a while, which is a little bit annoying. I'd kind of like it to be finished, but I guess they have better things to do. And Stuart is mining the surface rock. So I'm going to give him orders to go over and to work on this room and finish it off before I do more mining of the surface rocks. And so he's doing that, and he'll do this to finish off the room. And we've got another schoolroom here. So I'm going to set this up as if I had more wood, I'd set it up as a dormitory for the students, but I don't. So I think I'm going to set it up as a dining room for the staff. And so because when Horatio becomes a staff member, he's going to want a fancier place to eat. I can turn this in, and it needs to be skewed, and it needs a dining table, and it needs 10 total luxury. So that's fine. Once I get 10 total luxury to satisfy its requirement, I can just get another 5 luxury, and then that will satisfy Horatio. So this is a good room to build here, and this is a good thing to build. So it needs to be skewed. So I'm going to build 3 more levels of roof here. And then I'm going to demolish the roof that I just built because I'm going to be making the room a different size. And then I'm also going to have to rebuild this roof once once I build the wall through it. And so again, Stuart is hauling the rock. He's back busy with the surface rock. And so I'm going to tell him to go back and to build these 3 levels. And so that removed the roof, and I'll get him to disintegrate this roof. And I'll get him to construct the wall. And I'll get him to construct the upper wall. And dawn is breaking, and the wizards will be getting up soon. And so I will now build a roof here. And I will close this room in again because it's open because I removed the roof. And so Stuart should do that again, and I'll just give him orders to go through and construct everything here and finish off these 2 rooms. So he'll do all of that, and he'll go back to mining stone or teaching, as the case may be. And so no gremlins are going to appear here, which is great. And everything is fully lit, which is great. And Quinn is still sleeping. And I'll let them finish sleeping. And so Stuart, I'll get him to finish constructing that roof when he's done the rest. And so we've got our intermediate classroom back, which is great. And so now David is teaching the students, and he's as good of a teacher as Stuart. He's actually a little bit better because anything that he's higher than 1 at, which is water and dark and air, he will teach the students those a little bit faster. So that's fine. You can see here his teaching bonuses. He gets plus 40% water, plus 20% dark, and plus 20% air. And so it's not really worth going out of your way to try to get the higher tier instructors in here with the learning stone, because the initiates learn really quickly the low levels of magic levels anyway. But, he's fine. He's just as good as Stuart. So that's fine that they're doing that. I've still got 4 medical rests. So they didn't heal. No one healed fully, even overnight with the medical bed. But I just got a couple improvements from the relics, which is great as my staff are improving things. And Gladys completed one of her trials. Again, just completely by accident. I didn't go out of my way to try to get her to do it. She's a gutberry eater, so if I get her to just eat gutberries, she might complete another trial just by eating the gutberries. And David is a vivified, so I'll put him on just the gutberries. And Horatio is a raven cult, so I'm going to tell him not to eat the gutberries because it'll make him unhappy. Okay, and Stuart is gone back to mining the rock, but I still want the roof to be constructed. So I'm going to tell him to get back there and finish constructing the roof. And he's doing so. And he'll construct the last piece of roof. And now I've got the room back again. And because I did the back with it there, it's now a skewed room. Because I did one wall was 3 bricks taller, I've got the skewed keyword. And it's also elevated because there's nothing underneath it. And it's lofted because it's taller than it is wide. And it's skewed, which I just did. It's private because it only has 1 entry. It's pristine because there's nothing in the room that causes negatives to luxury. And it has an open back because there's nothing on the back. So I'm going to right away give it a window, which I need some wood for the window. So that's okay. I'll hold off on that. I also want to give it a dining table, and I can give it a dining table. So I'll put a dining table. I think I'm going to put the dining table right in the middle at the back. What the heck? And I'm trying to make a dining room for staff here. So I'm going to select that as the goal, and it has to be skewed. I need a dining table, and I have to have 10 or more luxury. So I get some luxury here from the roof. I get 8 of the 10 luxury from the roof. But the problem is that it's dark, so I'm going to get void shrooms in it. So I want some light, but I don't want the luxury penalty from wall torches. So I'm going to get a window which will let light in, but will not hurt the luxury. And so Birdie's over here and she's harvesting wormweed, which is fine. And it's going to help me with this ritual, but I have enough wormweed now. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to highlight the wormweed, and it's at 3 right now. So I'm going to leave it at 3. And then I'm going to hit this tree and I'm going to put its priority up to 5. So Birdie should now switch to chopping down the higher priority tree instead of the wormweed, now that I've given it a higher priority. And so she's doing that, and Quincy is cooking, but I really want him to be hunting because I want to get that viscera, and I want to be able to use the ritual again. So I set his hunting up to an emergency. So he's going to hunt no matter what. He's going to avoid eating. He's going to avoid sleeping. He's just going to hunt whenever there's a chance to hunt anything. And so I'll let him do that until I get up to 24 viscera, which isn't going to take too long. And then I'll remove the emergency hunting and I'll let him go back to cooking, which seems to be what's taking up most of his time right now. So I need 22 more viscera, which I just got. And so I'll go back to priority and I'll take him off of emergency hunting and I'll put him on top hunting, and I'll choose the ritual. And I'm going to do David because there's nothing better for him to do. I'm going to do Birdie because Birdie can benefit from the experience. Quinn and Quincy don't get any experience from it, so I'm going to let Stuart the Ghost be the third staff member. And then I'm going to use Horatio to get him up some experience and get him closer, hopefully, to being hired on as staff, which is the plan for Horatio. And I'm going to begin this ritual. Now I'm going to look back, and I don't have any wands being built, but I certainly want a dark wand. And so I'm going to choose a dark wand, and I don't have enough wood for that. So once she's done the ritual, hopefully Birdie will go and chop down some trees. I'm going to raise the priority for a few of the close trees to encourage her to chop them down. And then we can get her to build a dark wand, and then we can summon another apprentice who we need soon. And I still can't build a window, which is okay. But here in this schoolroom, I do want a window to be built eventually. So Quincy's gone back to cooking now that I don't have him on an emergency hunt anymore. And the people who are gearing up to do the ritual are grabbing all of the different components that they need, the wormweed pods, and the viscera to do the ritual. And it's going to push back the fog even more once I've done this. So it's going to go back. It says that students need a teacher. So the two students or the one student, Horatio's helping with the ritual. So Gladys is there and she wants to learn, but no one's there to teach her. And that pushed the fog back quite a ways. So we have some time now that we could be doing things with the school where we don't have to worry so much about the fog. We can actually, if we go and mouse over the fog, we've got 5 days until the fog consumes the school. So we've got time before it gets there. And we've got everybody working hard now. Stuart is mining the rock, trying to get rid of all that rock that's out on the surface. Quinn is researching, which is great. Quincy is hunting dire rats. I guess he finished all his cooking. And he doesn't have any. Yep, he's got all the cooking done, which is great. We've researched a third recipe, which is bitter gruel. And so bitter gruel is great. And we need bitter rice to make bitter gruel. And so that is a crop that we could be growing. And so to grow a crop, we want it to be in the sun. So I might be tempted to build something right here next to my school, but it's all shaded. So I think I'm going to, once this smokeweed gets harvested and once these gut berries get harvested, I might start building some crops right here in this area, right in front of the founder's grave. And so I'm putting high priority on these things here to harvest them before we build on top of them, because building on them would lose them for us anyway. And so we might as well get the resources if we're going to demolish them anyway. And so we're harvesting the smokeweed, and then I think we've harvested everything in the area here. And so I'm going to build, and we go to outdoors, and we have this bitter rice plot. And so I'm going to build it in front of the founder's grave, which is where Stuart, our ghost, is buried. Nothing really matters with the grave, but it's here out of respect for Stuart, I suppose. Then I'm going to do 4 bitter rice plots. So those are going to start growing. And that's the only way for us to get bitter rice. It's a domestic crop, and so we can't harvest it from the wild. So we'll start getting bitter rice, which Quincy can use to cook to make bitter gruel. And then that's another type of food that we're going to get. if we go over now, we've got our dark wand that we needed, and David is just carting things to storage. And so I'm going to go and summon with David. We've got 2 wands. So I'm going to summon a dark initiate, and then once we've got that, I'm going to summon another air initiate to replace Gladys, because we're going to lose her soon. We've got 27 Gnosis shards, so as soon as Horatio is ready to be a staff member, we've got the Gnosis to hire him. And we can now finally do the spindle. The spindle is very cool, to the point that some people, when they play this, it's the first thing that they work on getting. They just research it, and then they rush to get to the spindle. And what the spindle does is it lets you create these quilted creatures, which they're like undead creatures, kind of. They're made from viscera and sinew. And you animate them, and they exist for a few days, and they will do tasks around the school for you. So the carrier will move things into storage, and the sweep will clean. And so they basically free up your initiates from having to do the chores around the school, because these undead creatures are going to do them. So I'm going to order 5, and I'm going to say do it until. So I always want to have at least 5 quilted carriers, and if there's less than 5, I want it to make more. And I'll start off with 3 quilted sweeps, and I always want to have 3. So if there's less than 3, do it until we have 3 of them. And now we need somebody to quilt, which would be a mage who has dark powers. And so that's Quinn, and that's David. And so that's good that David could do that. And so hopefully, because I've put that for a high priority for him, he should do that once he's got things attuned and once he's done any alchemy. And those are limited things. The clean might take... it might distract him. He might go and clean something instead of making quilted. But once we have the sweeps, there's not going to be very much to clean. So once we have sweeps, I might remove the higher priority that he has for clean. But that's all set up now, and that's great. And the spindle is going to start creating these undead creatures from the viscera and whatnot that we have. And we've got some wood, and we can get the window, and just for fun, I'm going to put it right over the dining room table, and that will go there. And here we now have 8 luxury here, and we're going to get the dining room table, we're going to get the window, but we want to add another 7 luxury here. So there's going to be better ways for us to get luxury in short order, but right now we're somewhat limited to what we can do for luxury. So I can do magic mirrors for ice petals and wood, which give me +1 luxury, and I can do bookshelves for wood and smoke sticks. So the bookshelf gives me 2 luxuries, so that gives me 4 luxuries, and I said that I needed to get 7 luxuries. So I have 4 luxuries. I'll build another bookshelf, and that will give me 6 luxuries, and I need 7. So then now I will also build a magic mirror, and I'll just put the magic mirror over here in the corner, and combined, once all of those are made, I should have a dining room that has 15 luxury, which Horatio should like once he is a staff member. And we have our 6 staff members having their dance party, and we have a capacity for up to 8 members here, but 6 is fine. And we've just got Quincy and Birdie have developed a new preference, and so they like to share a bedroom together. And so Birdie and Quincy like to share a bedroom. And so that's great because they'll sleep at night and that will make the 2 of them happy. But the problem is I put Quinn in the bedroom with Quincy, And Quincy prefers to sleep in a bedroom with Birdie. So I'm going to switch the second bed here from Quinn to Birdie. So the two staff members who like to sleep together will sleep in the bedroom and they'll get a bonus from doing so. And Quinn is moving back from the bed onto the plain cot. So maybe he's not going to be happy about that, but you know, he can deal with that, I suppose. I am going to summon the student, the air student, with the other wand, and I've got tons of cots down here, so we definitely have spots for them, and they'll do that. And we're hearing the music from the dance party, and we've got seven wizards who are now here, and one of them just completed their trial that they wanted to dance with friends, so they've got that, which is great. And we've now got we just got a new student, and I'm summoning another new student. And the one joke about it is, or a joke, I don't know, a funny thing, is that in this game we have these croas that are kind of like wild chicken creatures, and when you kill one, their corpse summons a ghost at night, a spectral croa. So out here in the wilderness, there's a spectral croa. And we can kill these ghosts to get 2 ectoplasm. So that's a source of ectoplasm if we need them. And they can appear in your school if you bring in the croa corpses into your storage. They can then spawn these ghost croas every night, and they'll run around and they'll damage furniture when they're there. So basically every night these ghost croas appear and you have to hunt them down. And it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, and I have another way to get ectoplasm, so I'm not going to bother trying to have them deliberately. But with the refining beast, I can use it eventually when I research a couple new technologies. I can process croa corpses with my midden jelly refining beast, and I'll do that to get rid of them because otherwise they spawn these ghosts, which are a pain in the butt. If I didn't have a refining beast, I could tell one of the staff members to destroy the corpse. And so I could put the corpse on the ground and use their ability to destroy. Oh, actually, I lie. I don't think I can do that. I don't think that's an option with any equipment that you have. That's only wild things. I don't think you can do that with equipment. So yeah, I guess you could move it out next to the fog or something like that. But they're kind of a pain. They're a pain all around. So yeah, I prefer not to get the ghost chickens in my school. Okay, so it's the end of the day and everybody's going to bed. All the staff are going down, and good old Stuart is continuing his hard work, and he's getting the staff dining room ready for them in the morning. And I am going to go through the evening, and when I get to the dawn, it automatically saves at the dawn, and that's going to be a good break point for me to end this video. And so I will let the evening go through, and I'm just moving along at 3 times speed. And oh, here's the spectral croa here. So it came into my school, and it's damaged my chest. So the durability's gone from 58 to 100. So I'm clicking on the spectral croa, and I'm choosing to hunt it, and I'm giving it a 5 priority, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to actually give Stuart orders to come and hunt the spectral croa. And so he came over and he's attacking it. I could get Quincy out of bed and get Quincy to attack the ghost chicken, but Stuart can take care of it. And so there it's gone, and it left behind 2 ectoplasm, and it damaged my chest. So it's 37 out of 100 durability. So any wizard, including students, can do repairs. So in the morning, I'm going to have to get students to do repairs for me, which is a little bit of a pain. And I'm going to look at them again, and I'm going to see about attuning. I'm going to see about attuning some relics. And so I'm just going to set this up so that in the morning they'll get attuned. And so Johannes can't attune anything, and neither can Ivy, and Horatio can attune the gizmo of the strongman now. So if you recall, I tried to attune that before, and it wouldn't let me attune it until he was level 3, which he's level 3 now. So I'm going to choose to attune that. And then I'm going to attune this with Gladys. And so the reason I'm doing that, even though it's useless to her, she's not going to do research, is I'm about to graduate Gladys because I have another air student coming up, and I don't need Gladys anymore. And so what I'm going to do, because I don't have the Gnosis to hire both her and Horatio, is I'm going to attune the relic to her so that when she graduates, it's going to improve the relic. The experience is going to go to make the relic a higher level, since she's about to do that anyway. And so then I'll have the relic with some more experience that I can assign later on to a wizard who can actually use it, and it's less time they'll have to improve it and work it up. So we're going along, and the evening's going, and I think the dawn is starting to break. And we should be getting a storm is incoming. So we've had rain before up till now, but this is our first storm. And so a storm comes with lightning, which damages the roof of our school. And so what we want is smoke reeds to in order to build a lightning rod. And so we should have done this before the storm arrived, but I'm going to choose 7 smoke reeds to harvest, and I'm going to put 5 priority, and Stuart has started harvesting them, and we'll try to get a lightning rod as soon as possible. So we need 20 smoke reeds, smoke sticks. And so we've got 10 right now. And so the students have started to get up out of bed, and autosave is complete for morning, and I'm going to end the video there. So when I start the next video, I'm going to be trying to get to 20 smoke sticks, and I'm going to try to build lightning rods on the roof of the school, and I'm going to try to finish the staff dining room, which it's become a dining room already. As you can see, I've met the criteria that it has to be skewed, have a dining table, and it has to have 10 or more luxury, but I'm trying to get the luxury up to 15 for Horatio, and I need to build a window because right now it's dark and void shrooms are going to come here. But so that's great. I'm going to make the dining table access so that all staff will come in here and eat in the staff dining room. And I'll go back to the mess hall, and I won't let the staff eat in the mess hall. So now students will eat in the mess hall, which gives them a +5 conviction. Mess hall gives +5 conviction to student diners, and the dining room gives a +5 conviction to staff diners. So now they'll eat separately from one another, and each will get a conviction. So we're all set now, and these other parts of it should get built right away. And that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and there should be another part posted where we get our wizards out of bed, and we start day 11 of Mind Over Magic.